We are in the final days of the Washington Commanders head coaching search, and today I'm going to give you the latest updates on all the top candidates. Ben Johnson, Mike MacDonald, all these different guys interviewing, getting their second interviews this week for the Washington football franchise. But before we get into today's latest head coaching news and rumors, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because whenever the Commanders end up making this head coaching hire, we are going to be going live right here on the Commanders Report. We're going to be breaking down the new head coach, his scheme, the guys that he might bring in for his offensive and defensive coordinators, the whole 9 yards. So when the news hits, this is going to be the place you're going to want to check out. So make sure you click that subscribe button right now. And with that, let's get into today's show. So as many of us know, Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, is the favorite to become the next Commanders head coach. Most national media have reported that it's been a foregone conclusion around the National Football League that Johnson and the Commanders are kind of a match made in heaven, and Adam Peters, the GM brought in here in Washington, really likes Johnson's prowess as an offensive play caller, to the point where teams around the league foregone their opportunity to go get Johnson to hire other head coaches before Johnson was made available, before the Lions lost in the NFC Championship game last night against the San Francisco 49ers. But according to Adam Schefter and a number of different reporters around the National Football League, it's not a done deal just yet that Ben Johnson is going to the Washington Commanders. In fact, he said between Ben Johnson going to the Commanders and Dan Quinn going to Seattle, kind of the favorites for each of those jobs, Schefter said he would be willing to bet that one of those things and one of those predictions ends up being wrong. Here's what Albert Breer had to say about Ben Johnson going to Seattle today before he comes to Washington tomorrow for his in-person interview with the Washington Commanders. The Seahawks are interviewing Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson tonight and Ravens defensive coordinator Mike MacDonald tomorrow for their head coaching job, sources tell me and Connor Orr. Seattle has waited for those two. With Detroit and Baltimore out, they move forward. And listen, all I'm going to say to the Washington Commanders right now is they better not fuck this up, man. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. This guy's the next Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan type play caller in this league, in my opinion, talking about Ben Johnson. And let's say, for example, Ben Johnson goes to Seattle tonight and he signs his contract tonight. Then what? Then you don't have any offensive play calling of head coaching candidates coming in for a second interview this week. So you're really screwed in terms of getting an offensive-minded head coach if Ben Johnson ends up signing with the Seattle Seahawks tonight. Now, he is scheduled to come into Washington tomorrow. And listen, man, if he ends up coming to your building and he doesn't leave Seattle with a deal tonight, I am doing whatever I can to make sure Ben Johnson leaves the building tomorrow with a signed contract in hand. I want this man as the next head coach of the Washington Commanders. And if he leaves, and if he's not the Washington Commanders head coach moving forward, I'm going to be pretty bummed given all the hype. Now, let me know down there in the comment section, what would be your one-word reaction if Washington doesn't hire Ben Johnson as their next head coach? Let me know down there in the comment section your one-word reaction for today's pinned comment. So when YouTube throws you an ad break here, it's going to happen at some point during this video. Take advantage of that time by letting me know what your answer is to today's pinned question. Now, my one-word reaction to not getting Ben Johnson would be just a straight-up joke, all right? I think that Ben Johnson is the perfect man for the job, and if they screwed this up with apparent mutual interest between both sides, I mean, I just don't even know what to say, man. This organization just continues to shoot itself in the foot, but I'm going to try to stay optimistic here and hope that they can get a deal done. So now the Commanders have a bunch of different interviews lined up for this week, including Ben Johnson. They've got 5 people heading to Washington this week for second interviews in person in Washington. And the list looks like this. It's going to be Mike MacDonald, the Ravens defensive coordinator. We've talked about him on the show, really innovative defensive mind. Anthony Weaver, the Ravens defensive line coach, is also coming in. Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn, the Cowboys defensive coordinator. And, of course, Ben Johnson has that all-important interview tomorrow afternoon. Now, there's a report going around right now that the Washington Commanders do not plan to sign anybody and make a decision on a head coach until all of these second interviews have been completed. So right now, all these interviews are scheduled either for Monday or Tuesday. They're interviewing Mike MacDonald and Anthony Weaver today, and I believe the rest are on Tuesday. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here for the Washington Commanders head coaching position. And coming up here, I'm going to give you my prediction on who I think the next head coach of the Washington Commanders is going to be. Do I think it's going to be Ben Johnson? Do I think they might surprise us and go for a defensive mind? Let me know I'm going to let you know here in just a second. But first, it's kind of hard being a Commanders fan right now in terms of buying Commanders gear because we don't know if the team is going to change its branding, its logo, its team name even this offseason. And a good way to kind of make up for that is getting Washington football gear that has nothing to do with the team branding right now. So we got a solution for you guys right here with this awesome Sean Taylor t-shirt that can be found on from our friends at Fanatics. You can go chatsports.com/Taylor to get your hands on this awesome Sean Taylor t-shirt. Number 21 is always going to be a Washington football legend. No matter what the logo is, no matter what the team name is, you can know that this is going to be a t-shirt you can rock forever. So make sure, go down there. Fanatics right now, they're having great deals for their off-season prices. You can take advantage of that right now by going to chatsports.com/Taylor and getting this awesome t-shirt in your closet today. So now, in terms of not getting guys named Ben Johnson here, I think there's two guys that I'd be okay with, all right? I'd be okay with Mike MacDonald because he's an innovative defensive mind, younger guy. He's connected with that Ravens offensive coaching tree as well, so he can poach Todd Monken's protege to be his offensive coordinator. I wouldn't hate Mike MacDonald. I wouldn't hate Dan Quinn either, all right? He's been somebody that's traveled around the league. He's a really good defensive mind. Wouldn't mind that at all. And also he's got inside intel on the Dallas Cowboys, which might give the Commanders a fighting edge. But there's two guys that they're interviewing this week that I would probably rip my eyes out, people, if they ended up hiring these guys, especially Aaron Glenn. This guy hasn't been a good coordinator in the National Football League. His defense has been bottom 15, below average, every single year he's been in the league. And if he's the next head coach of the Washington Commanders over Ben Johnson, I'm done. All right. That would just be absolutely, positively the worst move that this organization could make, going with Aaron Glenn over Ben Johnson. All right. So I'm ripping my eyes out if it's Aaron Glenn. And then Anthony Weaver, it's like he's never called plays before, unless he's like this amazing leader that's like Dan Campbell coming in here, inspiring the locker room. I'm just not sure if I would take an Anthony Weaver over somebody like Mike MacDonald or Dan Quinn, who's an established presence in this league. And I'm not taking any of these defensive minds over Ben Johnson because you're going to be drafting a new quarterback, and we all know young quarterbacks do better when their head coach is offensive-minded, all right? So I want that offensive mind, and I want it to be Ben Johnson. And if the Washington Commanders screw this up, man, I just do not know what I will do. All right, so now I will expect a decision to be made by Wednesday here for the Washington Commanders. All of their second interviews will be done by Tuesday. They might take the night to kind of think about it. Who knows? They might even sign somebody on Tuesday tomorrow, so make sure you click that subscribe button. But I do expect a decision to be made by Wednesday, and when that decision comes down, we are going to be going live right here on the Commanders Report to break down the new head coach, what it means for the future of the Washington Commanders. You guys are not going to want to miss it. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a breaking news story for the Washington Commanders during the 2024 offseason.